Hello everyone, my name is Rishi, and in today's video we're going to be creating an Antonym program. So as you can see over here, I'm on Visual Studio Code and I have created an Antonym program folder, and in this there are two files. The first file is just the .env file, and in this file I've just incorporated the OpenAI key, and in this, if you want to learn more about this, check out the video in the description below. For our second file, I've incorporated a antonym.py file. This is where we're going to be writing our Python program in. So in order to start programming, we need to first initialize all the important modules that we need. So I'm just going to copy paste them here just to save time. So basically, the first one is just import async IO, and in this is just going to be used for asynchronous programming. The second one is import OS. So OS is just used for interacting with the operating system. And then we have Langchain. Langchain just helps us with the language processing tasks. And then .env just helps us load the environment using our API keys. Now once we're done with this, now we're going to load our env files into our Python file. So in order to do this, we just do load.env. And we're going to find our .env by the name of .env. Now once we're done with this, we're going to incorporate our model name. So this is just going to be a constant, so it's going to be model name is equal to, in parentheses, just text DaVinci 003. So this is basically like the large language model that we're going to be using, which does all the important computational tasks for us. Now once we're done with our model name, we're going to incorporate our OpenAI key. So it's just going to be OpenAI, and then it's going to be our API key. And in this, we're just going to be initializing our os.environment, and then we're going to name it as our OpenAI API key. Now once we're done with this, now we're going to be including some amount of data so that our program can refer to it when computing our Antonym program. So I'm also going to copy paste this over here just to save time. And then over here, as you can see, I just created an examples, and in this array we're just going to have like the word, which is going to be happy, and then the it's also going to incorporate the antonym. The antonym is just sad. And as you can see, I've listed a few examples over here. Now once we've created our basic training set data, now we're going to be defining the example prompt templates, which basically specifies the input variables that will be formatted in the prompt. So in order to do this, we just do example. So I have caps on, so example, and then it's going to be formatter template. And in this formatter template, we're just going to be incorporating our word, and then we're also going to be incorporating the antonym. Now once we're done with this, now we're going to move on to our example prompt. So we're just going to initialize a variable called example prompt. And in this, we're just going to have our prompt template, which is going to use our input variables, which is going to be what the user types in. And in this case, it's just going to be the word. And then we're also going to have our antonym. Now once we're done with this, we're going to have our template. And in our template is just going to be the example formatter template that we have initialized over here. Now once we're done with our example prompt, now we're just going to be working on the main response that we're going to get for from our chatbot program. So also make sure that you have like the commas over here so that you don't get an error. So now once you're done with this, we're just going to start with our chainlit commands. So first it's going to be chainlit on message. We're going to start a function called the definition, and it's going to be called main. And the one parameter that we're going to incorporate for this is just our input word. So this is just the string that the user is going to type into our program, and then in response our program is just going to give like an antonym. Now once you're done with this, now we're going to do our example selector. And our example selector, we're going to be using the semantic similarity example selector that we've initialized like on top over here. And then from this, we're going to do from examples. We're going to have our examples, the OpenAI embeddings. We're going to be using Chroma, and finally our k is going to be constant is equal to 2. Now basically what this does is that the example selector is created to find the most similar examples to the user's input word based on semantic similarity using word embeddings and Chroma's vector store. And then these similar examples will be used to create the few-shot prompt for the chatbot's response. And regarding few-shot prompts, I'm going to be talking about that in a couple of seconds. So few-shot prompt. So I'm going to be typing this and I'm going to be explaining what few-shot prompt is after this. So few-shot prompt template. In our few-shot prompt template, we're going to have our example selector. And in this, we're just going to use our example selector. And then we're going to have our example prompt. And then that's going to be also equal to our example prompt. And we're going to have our prefix, which basically asks to give the antonym of every input word. And then after this, we're going to have our suffix, which is just basically going to ask the word. And in this, we're going to have our word. And then in a new line, we're just going to have antonym. Now, once you're done with this, we're just going to have our input variables, and then that's just going to be equal to, in square brackets, it's just going to be equal to our word. And make sure, and you don't need a comma for this one. And then, so basically what this does is that it creates an example selector and few-shot prompt template. So what is few-shot prompts? So few-shot learning is just a machine learning framework that enables a pre-trained model to generalize over new categories of data and that the pre-trained model has not seen before during training. And we're just going to be using only a few labeled examples per class. And now once we're done with this, we're just going to be initiating the OpenAI language model and generate a response back to the user. In order to do that, we're just going to be doing large language model is equal to the OpenAI. And in this, we're going to have our OpenAI API key. So OpenAI API key. And then that's just going to be equal to our OpenAI API key that we have initialized before. We're going to incorporate our model, which is just going to be our text DaVinci 003. Now once we're done with this, we're going to give our response, which is going to be incorporated out of LLM, and it's just going to be a few-shot prompt, which incorporates a format of word is equal to the input word. So this is not supposed to be here, so it's supposed to be input word. So now once you're done with this, we're just going to add on to our response saying that, so in a new line, we're just going to be saying that just enter a word. Now, after this, we're just going to be doing our async IO run function. So we're just going to be doing async IO.run. And for this, we're just going to do chainlit on message, which is going to be doing our content is equal to our response. And then our response is just going to be just send the response that we have initialized on top over here. And then now we're just going to be incorporating when the response from the program when the user first starts the program, so that the user knows what the chatbot's main functionality is. So to do this, we're just going to do chainlit on start on chat start. In this, we're going to have our another function called start, and then the output is just going to be consisting of all the antonyms that we're going to use. So I'm just going to copy paste it over here. So it's just going to incorporate the the words and the antonyms, basically whatever is in the examples on top over here. And then we're also going to add on to the output saying that we're just going to be saying that to enter a new word. Now once we're done with this, we're just going to do our async io.run, and just same as before, just chainlit on message, and then the content is just going to be equal to the output, and we're just going to be sending that back to the user. So now once you're done with this, we're just going to run our program. So in order to do this, we just do chainlit run our antonym program, so antonym.py. So now as you can see over here, it's creating our local host, and I have my screen over here. So I'm just going to move it over here. And then now it just, see, as you can see over here, as soon as we start the program, the chatbot just says the word happy, and it gives all the examples that we've initialized before. And now we can just enter a word. So I'm just going to enter a word over here that's not over here, and I'm just going to type locomotion. And then as you can see, it just says immobility. So while it's doing all this processing data, so I'm just going to put this to the side over here. So as you can see, while it's doing all this processing data, you can see in real time that it creates a default config file at my antonym program, and in chainlit over here, and it loads the .env file, then it creates the chainlit markdown file, and then now it just initializes the chatbot program. Thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.